Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. This is going to be a fairly short but very fast-going news broadcast. There is all kinds of news all kinds of news. But the biggest news is the Russians had a ship seized by the United States just a few minutes ago. So the U.S. boarded and seized a Russian-flagged ship off the coast of England. We'll be talking about that in a minute. This is brought to you by Get the Tea. I have a friend with a bad tummy, so I recommend Calm Tummy. And we've been testing the vitamin B for the elimination of asthma. And so far, so good. Apparently, not only vitamin B controls asthma, it also helps knock the rashes back. So berry is a big thing in America right now. I'm going to put that on a monthly order. And then the salmon oil is apparently enough to numb the pain in my back. A couple of those in the pain in my back because I'm missing a backbone is gone. So I'm going to put that on a monthly order. And then I'm going to put the cinnamon on a monthly order and the vitamin A because when I take the vitamin A, my eyesight improves tremendously. So I'm in 2025. I used to be at 2150, baby. Now I don't need glasses to drive officially. Anyway, on to the news. I hope you caught that pension program yesterday. If you work for a company for 2 years and you separate from it, you have a pension. And then you work for another company for 2 years, you separate, you have another pension. Doesn't matter. This company could go away, could disappear, go bankrupt. But that pension is guaranteed by the Pension Guaranteed Fund. So it would behoove you to keep a file folder, and you can always order your back IRS taxes. Just call the IRS, and I think for $10 they'll send you a past tax record. But I highly recommend that you keep a folder of the companies that you worked for and the contact number for those pension programs. Because some of those pensions you're eligible to get when you're in your 50s. So anyway, that's what yesterday was all about. And apparently I was talking to a friend, and she says there's got to be a mass exodus of YouTube because everybody knows that 95% of the hits are fake. And all of those shorts, most of them are AI generated. Those squirrels and those tigers, they're all AI generated. Not all of them, but some of them. I don't know how many, that's the problem. Over 60% of the videos on YouTube now are AI generated, and they're going into Rumble and Brighteon, etc., etc., etc. You don't know what's fake and what's not fake. So every news story we talk about, we have to verify because the CIA is putting out so much fake news. They believe if everything you believe is a lie, they win. Well, what do they win? A satanic pat on the back and a one-way road to perdition? Anyways, eBay, everything I order is not coming. So there's also going to be a mass exodus from eBay this month. eBay and YouTube. That's what she thinks. She read an article somewhere. People are tired of watching AI, tired of watching lies, and tired of ordering things on eBay that never get there. I don't know if the CIA is shutting down eBay. They sued Walgreens out of existence. They sued all the small pharmacies out of business. They're suing everybody out of business. They sued Kmart out of business. They sued Sears out of business. We'll find out. And Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor, I believe, Tampon Tim, admitted that he was guilty, stealing $50 billion a year, giving to terrorists in the Democratic Party, and he's not in jail. And the governors of California, Oregon, Washington, Ohio, sorry, they're still spraying us, all admitting to stealing hundreds of billions of dollars of taxpayers' money to fund the Democratic Party and terrorists around the world. None of them have been arrested. Oh, but Pam Bondi may investigate. A guy at 140 mayors state Tim Walz is committing welfare fraud. He admits to committing welfare fraud, and he's still walking around. Explain that to me, President Trump. And Denmark claims to hold Greenland. They have a budget crisis so bad they canceled the Postal Service. Took out all the mailboxes, said we're no longer delivering letters. They will deliver packages, and you can take a letter and mail it as a package. Stamps hit 2.3 euros. They're about $3 a stamp because Denmark is financially in trouble. They can't even fuel the ships to patrol Greenland. They have 4 frigates and they can't fuel them to patrol Greenland. So Denmark is in big financial trouble. More than likely, Trump will take Greenland from Denmark because Denmark says, we own Greenland, we own Greenland. Greenland's like, we don't care, we just do our job and come home. So they claim to own Greenland. Just like Portugal claims to own Brazil and Spain claims to own Venezuela. But there's something called the Monroe Doctrine, baby. We'll see how that plays out. And Michael Bryant, lieutenant for the police force in D.C., shot Lorena Babbitt on January 6th. He runs a daycare center. He's been one daycare center. He's now worth $140 million. He's been sucking off the welfare budget. Sounds like CIA payoff to me. Michael Bryant was never arrested by President Trump, despite the fact that his daycare center is a couple blocks from the White House, and he sucked $140 million out of the welfare department. 2 blocks from the White House, they're not arresting him. Go figure. You just tell one of your Secret Service agents, go get him. Not one warrant, not one arrest. He sucked $140 million out of the daycare center in D.C., and he's not under arrest. And Trump did his first veto of the second presidency. Apparently, the Arkansas Valley Conduit, which was a pipeline to bring water to Arkansas back in '64, oh, it's going to cost $50-60 million to build the pipeline. Oh, it's going to be $100 million. Oh, it's going to be $200 million. Oh, it's going to be $300 million. Then it was going to be $600 million in 2024. Now it's going to be 1.3 with cost overruns, $3 billion to build a $50 million pipeline. Trump said we're canceling the money. CIA, find another place to steal your money, like the railroad fund in California or the welfare fund in Minnesota. Find another place to steal your money. You can't steal it from Arkansas. And finally, after years of destruction of America, after tearing America down, after saying God is a piece of garbage and Satan is their master. Oh, I watch those programs. They repeat whatever the devil puts out. Whatever the devil says, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting repeats. Tied right into that old master devil. Finally, after 60 years of trying to destroy America, they finally dissolved the Public Broadcasting Corporation. You and I don't have to pay for those pigs anymore. Sesame Street, you want to keep going? Fund yourself. You want to have transvestite dolls? Fund yourself. See if anybody's going to pay you. See if Budweiser will pay you to have a transvestite. 2 daddies, 2 mommies, 2 cross-dressers. They're finally going away. The CIA's not going to fund them. They can't make any money off them anymore. They can't suck the government dry. Where do you think that money went? Do you think it all went to PBS? No, it went to the CIA to control the world. And finally, in Venezuela, there are several things going on in Venezuela. First of all, in 1823, the Monroe Doctrine passed, which says European powers are going to get out of North and South America. This is our area of influence, get out. Now, Greenland may or may not be in the North American continent. We don't know. But if it is, Denmark's getting out of it. Because Denmark just decided one day, we claim Greenland. We put our Greenland flag there. It's now ours. Well, it doesn't work that way anymore. Greenland can be protected by America. We have been protecting Greenland. We have military bases there. Denmark has 100 troops in there. They're going to put 500 or 600 in for a typical winter exercise. Military exercise. When I flew over Greenland, it was nothing but a sheet of ice. Not like Antarctica, which is mostly inhabitable. But Greenland is a sheet of ice. I mean, I looked down there at that piece of sheet of ice and went, yeah. And there's these little teeny places by the ocean with little cities. Little teeny areas that aren't covered with ice. The people get the water run off and they go out and they go fish. So Greenland exports fish. Whatever fish they have, they export. Where do they export it? Primarily to the United States and Canada. So Trump says we're going to seize Greenland. He might even seize Canada because the Canadian economy is collapsing. So there's drugs. Now, an unregistered oil tanker, that means they turn their GPS off. They pull into a country like Venezuela. They load up with coltan, because remember, Ethiopia has 10 million displaced people because of coltan. The Muslims are shooting and maiming people all across the Congo because of coltan. The Ukraine conflict started right after they found coltan. And the Venezuela collapse started right after they found massive amounts of coltan. They use it in the internal wirings in their starships, and they use it to coat the ships so they can vibrate 4 times faster and cloak themselves and go into the astral plane. That's how it works. They use magnetic drive, which I don't know how that works. I know how the old spinning Mercury in 2 directions like that works, but I don't know how the magnetic drive works. Some kind of magnetic gravitational force. Because as you go up higher in the spectrum, the planets get closer and closer. Gravity is not controlled by gravity. It's controlled by the electrons in the upper frequencies. So we've got coltan, which, okay, the U.S. finally has a source of coltan, and like the assistant's, Betty Boop's assistant, the chief of staff of the White House, Betty Boop's assistant, says that this is all about what somebody's doing upstairs. This isn't what we're doing. Somebody's directing us down here. So this is way beyond echelons of reality. It has to do with the space program in Kings Mountain. You go to Salt Lake, you make a right. On your left is Kings Mountain, a big giant holograph. That's the space program. Quadrant off, so you and I, who pay for it, can't go in there and see it. But we got to pay for it. These are the things Nazi Germany did under Adolf Hitler. You got to pay for it, but you can't see it. So the drugs, a ship comes in, it may be transporting drugs from Europe, comes in and unloads into Venezuela. It makes more money by transporting drugs than it does by transporting oil. So there was a Chinese and a Russian oil tanker heading into Venezuela. So Trump blew up the port that can fill up the ships. So the ships have no reason to go into Venezuela, so they turn tailed and run. Well, this one ship called the Bella One made some telephone calls and said, please, Russia, please, can we flag our ship with you? And Russia said, temporarily you can paint a Russian flag on it. So they temporarily painted a Russian flag on it. The paint's still frickin' wet. So, the United States sent in a helicopter and some special forces, and when the tanker was in English waters, and England and France have fought over who owns what waters between them. I mean, it's only a 20-mile stretch between them. Apparently, from France, you can see the White Cliffs of Dover. But the bottom line is, while they were in English waters, the Americans landed on this ship to find out exactly what they were carrying. Russia has been is trying to guard a ship transporting illegal drugs to Venezuela so they can fill up their tanker with oil, transport it to China, and off the coast of America, download a ship to come into America with illegal drugs. Now, when a ship pulls into the port of Tacoma, there is one, by the way. I don't know where we have a trade deficit because there's one ship in the port of Tacoma. They make a little bit from the cargo they transport and a lot bit from the drugs they transport. And who's there to collect the drugs? I can't say. FBI. Cocaine Import Agency brings it into the United States, and the FBI distributes it. Plain and simple. That's why they censor me. Because they know that if I keep talking about it, their drugs are going to be seized when the ships come into port. So they censor me, and Trump just won't uncensor me. There must be a lot of under-the-table money going on. So, Trump has said it's going to take 30 to 50 million gallons of oil to help rebuild the oil wells in Venezuela. So he's sending in 15 oil tankers. They're going to sell on the open market Venezuelan crude, which is not sweet. It's horrible. Horrible, thick, just like Arabian crude. It's horrible. And thicker than snot. So they're going to take this heavily laden sulfur oil, bring it to America, clean it, and sell it on the open market, and take that money and pay Chevron so they can rebuild the oil wells, which are now shutting down because the pipelines are cracked. The oil wells are shutting down because the motors are failing. Venezuela won't spend any money, just like Mexico. Mexico Oil Company is the only oil company in the world that loses money except the Venezuelan oil company. And so their docks were falling apart, their pipes were leaking. You walk on the dock, you step through it. It's a very dangerous situation. And Trump says the world needs Venezuelan oil. We're not only going to seize the oil, we're going to use that money to fix the Venezuelan oil wells. And we're no longer allowing Venezuela to have those oil wells seized from the United States. We're going to take our oil wells and our ports back because you seized them, Maduro. So you can transport drugs into the United States. We're going to blow up your drug factories. We're going to blow up the Mexican drug factories. We're going to blow up all the factories sending drugs into the United States. Now, whether he stops the CIA from importing cocaine from Colombia, we don't know. Remember? Colombian grown. Well, they grow the best cocaine, I guess. So whether Trump goes after the Colombian cocaine or not remains to be seen. He's not going after Tim Walz. He's not going after the I am a clone, I answer to an AI. It's what he said, Gavin Newsom. They're not going after the governor of Oregon or Washington or Ohio or Illinois for massive welfare fraud and funding the Democratic Party and terrorists around the world. They're not going after him. So whether or not Trump goes after the Colombian grown and the drugs and the Mexican grown drugs, we don't know. They're still bringing it across the northern Canadian border in Republic of Washington. They come across the border with backpacks on. They go to the hotel in the middle of the Republic of Washington. Homeland Security meets them. They get to stay in a hotel. And then they go back with an empty backpack. And Homeland Security then transports the drugs to their main headquarters for pickup by the FBI, which then usually sends them to Mena, Arkansas for distribution. The Air Force Base, Mena, Arkansas. Bill Clinton, governor 12 years, 150 people dead because they all found out they were the FBI drug distribution headquarters. Big deal. Everybody knows that. It's common knowledge. It's been all over the press for years. This isn't top secret information. So the Bella One changed its name to the Marinara. It's 25 years old. It's really a rust bucket. So this rust bucket, rather than painting the hull, painted a Russian flag and said, "We're now Russian, we're now Russian." The Coast Guard said, "You guys are full of crap." They boarded it in English waters and said, "We're looking for the drugs. Give them up." Well, that'll take care of, you may be able to transport 1 million barrels of oil or whatever, you sell it for $25 million, but you can get $50 to $100 million from a couple of boxes of drugs. So you don't think they're part of that drug cartel? Think again. Venezuela pays everybody off. It's just like the Ukraine. When I live there, you get something from paying people off. It's the way in the Dominican Republic. It's if you love people and they love you and you ride horses and you get to know people, it's a family thing. But in the Ukraine, it's who you pay off. Same way in the United States. Except the United States is in the process of seizing money from people. Like the Securities and Exchange Commission stole investments of mine. Like Wells Fargo stole investments of mine. Why? Because we're exposing things. And I'm going to continue to expose things. I'm not going to expose anything wrong with Air Force One anymore. And I'm not going to expose, I saved somebody's life on Air Force One because I said what I said. And he said, "We listened to you," but he never said thank you. Never gotten a thank you from Trump. From the first time we saved his life in 2016 to today. Or Obama. No sense saving Biden's life. He was so many doubles. Anyway, so are we at the edge of war? I think Russia's going to back down because the world now knows that Russia's participating in the transporting of illegal drugs. The narco trade is over $2 trillion in the economy, maybe as much as $5 trillion. And Russia is now participating in the narco trade. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I think China and Russia are going to back off. And I think Denmark, who can't afford Greenland anymore, is going to back off. And I think the Canadian government is going to fall apart. That's what it looks like right now. Anyway, we're breaking down into the 1984 regions. China, Russia, Europe, and the United States. And Russia and Europe may be separate for a while. But the European economy is collapsing. They've gone all Muslim. Their countries have become worthless economic nothings. And their economies are just falling apart. So they're ripe for the picking. The great, mighty Germany, who held off the world twice for 4 years, is now fallen under Muslim control and falling apart. God bless. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.